Hieronymous looked out the window and watched Tori lie on her back in the grass. The wind blew her blue hair away from her face, and she just smiled as she sat up, holding her arms out against the wind. For some reason, it looked like she was communicating with something, but there was no one there. There was just Tori and her magic, and the fragile link that bound her life to this earth. He heads outside, and Tori must hear the glass door slide closed as she immediately gets to her feet. Hieronymous! She runs as fast as he had ever seen her run towards him, jumping into his arms as he twirls her around in the air. I missed you. I've only been gone a few hours, Tori, he says, kissing the bridge of her nose before setting her down. You're looking better. I feel better, Tori says, smiling broadly at him. I mean, how can anyone not? It's so nice here. I wish we could invite Virginia and Ellen and everyone over and just have a big picnic out in the grass. We could make food, and people could go swimming, although maybe we should go swimming first and then go and make food, because I always heard that you shouldn't swim with a full stomach, otherwise you might get a cramp and drown, but I don't know if that's true because... Hieronymous looks at her and smiles, tucking her hair behind her ear. What? She asks, her blue eyes sparkling in the bright sunlight. What is it? I just love to see you happy. That's all, Hieronymous replies. It's just nice being back here, Tori says with a shrug. She reaches beside her as she picks up an empty glass pitcher. Oh, and I drank all the stuff that you gave me. I wouldn't say it's the best thing I've ever tasted, but I got it all down. Good. Hieronymous nods to himself as he watches Tori examine the empty pitcher, although what she's looking for, he can't say. We should probably talk about this eventually, shouldn't we? Tori asks, and Hieronymous has the decency to look surprised as he glances back at her. Talk about... me, Tori replies simply. I don't know what's wrong with me, but obviously there is something wrong. I just don't know what. Hieronymous frowns. Why do you think there's something wrong with you? Well, Tori sits back in the grass. I don't know. Since we got back from Christmas break, things have just felt different. Like I just feel lonely all the time, no matter what I do. Like I feel kind of hollow, like a biscuit without any filling in the middle of it. Just a big hollow mess of nothing. And then all the stuff with Musette happened, and then we had our fight, and I don't know. My head's just been different lately. Like, even before the fight, I felt like we were growing apart. I felt like you hated me, like none of my friends wanted to spend time with me, so I just started to isolate myself. And then the past few days, I've just been zoning out. It reminds me of what Musette said, of how she didn't feel like she was dead, just a very confused her. I don't know. I've just felt like either just a really sad or a really confused Tori. Like this week, I would pick up a book and sit down in the morning, and then nighttime would come, and I hadn't even read anything. I didn't even leave the bed. It was like I totally spaced out, and I didn't want to tell you because I thought it would be selfish, because it would make you worry about me, but you love me, and you care about me. You can obviously see for yourself that something is wrong. I'm not fun to be around, and I'm not acting like myself, and not talking to you is only making things worse, and why are you smiling? I think this is the most you've spoken to me since Christmas, Hieronymous admits as he runs a hand through her hair. I won't lie to you, Tori. It almost feels as if a shadow has lifted, and I have my wife back again. Tori just frowns. I mean, I feel like me again, but that still leaves the question of what's wrong with me. Why do I feel better here? Does it have something to do with this magic juice you gave me? Her eyes go wide as she glances down at the pitcher and then back at him. Did you drug me? No, Tori, he says, unable to keep the laughter out of his voice. No, I gave you medicine, I believe. You believe? Tori asks skeptically. Do you know something I don't? Because I'm really getting the feeling that you know something I don't. I do, Hieronymous admits. I just don't know if you're ready to hear it, that's all. Tori gets onto her knees as she kneels in front of him, almost pleading. I don't like feeling sad all the time, Hieronymous. I don't like questioning my friends. I don't like questioning you. If something is wrong with me, please tell me. Her eyes go wide again. Does this have to do with Kyo's curse? Am I dying? Hopefully not for a long time yet, Hieronymous replies. No, Tori. Do you remember when Miss Darding came to visit that morning? Tori wrinkles up her nose. That was weird. You told me she just wanted to talk to you about a faculty issue and left. I knew you were lying because you're a terrible liar, but considering I haven't been much better lately, I decided to just let it go. Why? Was it about me? It was. I knew it, Tori says with a shake of her head. Whatever spell she did on me, she knocked me out for 2 days. She wouldn't do that for no reason. Does this have to do with the solemn bond? It does, Hieronymous says softly. When Tori says nothing, he continues. I am sorry, Tori. The events of that night were more traumatic for you than I initially believed them to be. I know that you told me that you died, but I thought that was only because that's how it felt to you. I didn't know that you had died in the literal sense. Tori just nods, her eyes adopting a faraway expression. For a moment, he feels like he is losing her again, and he gets his words out in a rush. But you are here now. You are alive in every sense of the word. I still don't understand half of it myself, but when the 3 kindred restored you, it made you physically more dependent on magic than you had been before. But that happened a year ago, Tori says with a shake of her head. Why is it only affecting me now? Because you had learned to survive on low amounts of mana for so long, Hieronymous explains. But after being here, in the other world, you have developed a stronger connection to your magic. He's about to continue, but Tori's face snaps into one of realization. What is it? I felt lonely after Christmas time, Tori says. Right after we left. Like I felt like I was missing something, but I wasn't sure what it was. It's like when I lost my memories of you, and I remembered that I was really happy, but I couldn't remember why, and it was driving me crazy. What you said just made a lot of sense. I felt like I was missing my magic, and now that I'm here again, it feels like I'm whole again. Like I left a bit of myself here when I left, and now I came back and found it again. I must admit that I've always been skeptical of speaking of magic in the spiritual terms, Hieronymous continues. Yes, it's true that everyone has magic, and everyone is connected through magic, but it seems that you are now one with that magic, Tori. As a result, you feel more connected to other people, other things. Like the wind, Tori says happily, and Hieronymous can't help but shoot her a strange look. Sorry. Don't be sorry, Hieronymous says quickly. Explain it so I can understand it. Okay, so you know how the wind goes whoosh over the grass and it makes the grass go sideways? Tori asks. I feel the wind, and it pushes me, and it makes me go sideways. But I can also make the grass go sideways if I use my hand and just push it like this. She reaches down and smooths back the grass with her hand. So I am me, Tori, but I am also the grass, and I am also the wind. Hieronymous just stares at her like he's never seen her before in his life, and Tori quickly blushes as she looks away. Drugs, she says at last. You gave me drugs. I did no such thing, Hieronymous insists. Trinity gave me the recipe. She said it would calm your nerves. I wasn't quite sure what it meant, but I figured it would help quell your night terrors. Oh. Tori looks down and away. I'm sorry. I don't mean to wake you up. You haven't been waking me up, Hieronymous says, perplexed. I don't understand. What changed? Well, for the record, I haven't had any here, Tori explains, but I've just been having weird dreams. I don't know if I can really call them night terrors because they're not as intense as before. They're just weird. Like after Kyo cursed me, I had a dream that I was sitting on the gym rafters with Musette and she was telling me I was dead. And I didn't remember how I got there and I was too scared to jump off the beam. I was lucid dreaming, I guess, but it still felt real. Nightmares always do, Hieronymous replies sadly. But you haven't had any since you've been here? Not since I started drinking the magic juice, Tori replies simply. But so what does that mean for me now? Do I... Her voice trails off as she looks away, suddenly looking sad again. Do you what, Tori? Hieronymous asks as gently as he can. Do I have to stay here now? Tori asks. Am I going to be stuck in the other world forever? No, Hieronymous replies with a shake of his head. I know this is scary for you, Tori, but I'm going to support you throughout all of this. I still remember that night. You told Damien to take your life instead of mine. If you hadn't, you wouldn't be in this position now. Kindness and courage, Tori replies with a shrug. If it makes you feel any better, I wasn't scared of dying. I just wanted to protect you. That was all I could think about. Hieronymous just shakes his head as he kisses her temple, and Tori takes his hand in hers. It was clear that this conversation was too sober for either of their liking. You only have 1 year left of school, Hieronymous continues after a few minutes have passed. We'll see how things go. It's going to be harder for you being out of this plane and having less access to your magic, but we will work on it together. You might need to take a few days off here and there to come here and recharge. What's important is that you communicate with me and tell me how you feel. If you don't, I can't help you. Tori's shoulders slump. I can say I will now, but it doesn't do much good if we get back there and I don't follow through. I am not too concerned, Hieronymous says simply, and Tori turns back to him as she raises an eyebrow. At first I thought you were distancing yourself from me because you didn't care, Tori. But now I can see that you do care, deeply. You just didn't know how to express what was wrong. Now that we know what's wrong, we can work on it. You're too good for me, Tori says as she reaches over and kisses his cheek. If this was a year ago, I'd be absolutely terrified that you were going to leave me because I wasn't worth the trouble. You're a trouble, Hieronymous admits, but then again, so am I, apparently. I know I put work first. I know I can come home at night and not be in the best of moods, but coming home to you is the one bright spot in my day, Tori. I can't tell you how many mornings I've woken up just wishing the day would already be over so I could come home to you. Tori frowns as she rests her head against his shoulder. You said it'll get easier in a year, after I graduate. You said we could travel the world together if we wanted to. Did you really mean all that? Yes, Hieronymous says firmly. I know this is troubling to my own ears, but I love you so much I don't think there is anything I wouldn't do for you, Tori. I think it might be a while for us to find our natural rhythm again, but the point is that we will find it. We just have to remember that our relationship is worth fighting for. It really is, Tori agrees. They link hands again and cuddle up as they watch the other world's purple sun slowly set in the distance. They would have to return to Iris Academy eventually, but at least in this moment, they were free of their responsibilities. They were free to just be, together. Neither of them could ask for anything more than that.